Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Robin Craig Live. I'm Robin Craig, your host for the next 60 minutes, and I'm broadcasting from Houston, Texas, where spring is in the air. I know that we're officially almost 3 weeks away from spring, but I've got 2 gigantic ash trees, and they are fully leaved. I am already working on the pool and playing in the dirt outside. It's been really, truly amazing. So, of course, this early spring is making me think summer is going to come and it's going to be another real hot one. So, I just have to prepare myself for that. But today, I felt a sunbeam on my face and I thought, honey, I am ready to go swimming. Bring it on. So I know some of you guys are experiencing some adverse weather, rain and tornadoes and so forth. So I just hope everybody is safe, and I hope that you get a good internet connection tonight so you can enjoy the show, because we are continuing our discussion from last week. Last week we talked about the struggles of the widowed. And we're all struggling. All humans struggle. When you're widowed, you struggle with different things that you didn't expect. And we had a great conversation. I talked to Ty Anglin in California, who is a 27-year-old widower with a 3-month-old and a 5-month-old. And his wife died as she was preparing to give birth to the baby. So he's dealing with loneliness, and he was really sad, of course, on his first Valentine's Day without his wife. And he also said he struggles with grieving and how to grieve, because he doesn't want to upset the kids when he feels like knocking a hole in the wall. So that was very interesting for him to share. I also spoke to Doug Morris, who is in our chat room tonight. Hi, Doug. Thank you for sharing your story. Doug said that he struggles with the going to the weddings and watching his friends get married and seeing the happily ever after, while he's thinking, my wife died after 19 months of marriage, and you kind of feel ripped off. So that's difficult. And he also struggles with not finding the perfect relationship in his 5 years of widowerhood. And a lot of us can relate to that. It's really hard to have true love and then to start dating from scratch once again. And I also spoke to Laura Marks Franks. And she struggles as a single mom of a 5-year-old. She lost her husband, who had had a kidney transplant. And then in 2010, both of her parents died within 3 weeks of each other. And she is a single only child, had to deal with the funerals and cleaning out their house and just a lot of stuff. So a lot of people made comments and they enjoyed the conversation. So tonight we're going to talk more about the struggles of the widowed. But first, it's time for the critter update. I am so excited to say that that crazy cat that's been coming around and aggravating my cat, it's not been back. I'm excited about that. And I'm also excited because there's been no attic activity. And I'm kind of whispering, I'm kind of looking around as I say that, because the possums and raccoons have been invading my house forever, but they've been gone. It's been quiet. So the only thing I have for you this week for the critter update is that I was out at the pool on Sunday afternoon. I was raking some stuff out when I noticed, I don't know whether my pole hit a leaf on the palm tree, but this lizard fell off. I think I might have hit him because lizards are very sure-footed, but he fell off into the water, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to rake him out. And I looked, and he was like climbing back up over the side like that quickly. And I thought, that's some talent for a little bitty lizard to fall in the water and instantly climb back out. So I think their feet are made out of glue. Isn't that amazing? I thought, what a cool thing. So anyhow, that's it for the critter update. Now I'm going to be giving away another case of Bean-Itos. Everybody knows these are my favorite guilt-free chips. They're made out of black beans. There's no corn, no potatoes, no gluten, no wheat, no trans fats. They are low glycemic. They have protein. I mean, they're really tasty in addition to that. So you can buy them at beanitos.com, BEANITOS.com, or you can find them at some of the grocery stores or at some of the health food stores. So check them out. They're really good. I'm giving away a case of those. And tomorrow is Leap Day, February the 29th. We only get that about every 4 years. And I want everybody to remember Terry McCandless. He's a regular viewer of Robin Craig Live. and tomorrow is his would-be 28th wedding anniversary. He was widowed this last August, and this is the first wedding anniversary where he will experience not having his wife. So I know it'll be a kind of an odd day. All of those anniversaries and birthdays and special occasions are just so difficult. So if you're friends with Terry, send him a little note. If you're not, then maybe you'll track him down. You can find him on my Facebook. Terry McCandless is his name, and he's a sweetheart. So Terry, if you're watching the show, honey, we love you to pieces, and we'll be contacting you tomorrow to see how you're doing, and hopefully everything will be okay. All right, so next we're talking about the struggles. And, oh, I see that Brandy's with us and Donita. Hey, guys, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome aboard. Really excited to have you guys here. And we're going to be calling Summer first. She is dealing with so many different things. So let's just get Summer on the phone and see what she has to say. Now, first of all, I mentioned last week, when you say struggling, what do you mean by struggling? Well, the definition is to make strenuous or violent efforts in the face of difficulties or opposition. So when we are widowed, the difficulties are built in, and we really do have to put forth strenuous effort to work our way out of it and figure out our new normal, and to figure out where our role in life lies. Because when you're married, you see your future and you have things that you've got planned, and you talk to your spouse about it, and you always say, like, I can't wait till we reach this point, or I can't wait till the kids are grown, or I can't wait till we retire. And you have all of these plans, and then you lose your spouse and everything just goes up in smoke. So tonight we're just going to be sharing some stories about struggling, because I always say that you can't grow unless you experience adversity. When life is great and you've got money and you've got a job and your family's alive and everyone's healthy, there's no growth in that. We only grow through our struggles, and it's impossible for us to understand why we had to lose our spouses or anybody else in our family, but we do get the fact that that is part of life. It's just the way it is. And that's what this show is about, to encourage and to empower people to look for that silver lining, because I do believe there is a silver lining for everybody, for every single one of us. I feel like there are great things out there, but we just have to level out, and we have to adjust to our life as a single person. And then we have to make a lot of tough decisions regarding whether we want to stay single for the rest of our lives. And who knows, you know, I mean, it's not something that we can always plan. Love just comes when it comes. But there are widowed people who I talk to a lot, and they say, I'll never remarry and I don't even care about dating. So everybody has to pick their path, and as long as you're happy, that's the only thing that matters. So we're going to get Summer on the phone right now. She is in Virginia. And she is a mother of 5 children, all ages. There's my cat. I don't know if you guys can hear. It's the cutest thing.
Hello.
Hello, Summer. How are you, sweetie?
I am good.
Good. Well, welcome to Rob and Craig Live. You're on the air. You doing okay this evening?
I am, yes. Everyone's in bed.
Okay, good. So you've got 5 children, 14 months, ages 4, 8, 13, and 17. I mean, it seems like you've got one in every school, and then you've got 2 at home.
Yeah, they're going all over the place.
That is like so amazing, and I know that you have a lot of different issues because of the children, and you shared so much. I think you're fabulous, and I think you're so brave to be tackling everything with the gusto that you are. And you were married for 8 years, and I loved it because you met your husband, and you married after how many months?
4 months, yep.
After 4 months, you guys decided to get married. Everybody thought it was a fluke and it wouldn't last. And then 8 years later, you have your anniversary. Here comes Indigo Sherry. She wants to say hi to everybody. Here she comes. She's like heavy. I know, she heard me talking about children, and she goes, here I am, everybody. Hi. Look,
Oh, she looks like my Helga.
Well, she's like a big cat. Everybody says for a female, she's awfully big. And I'm thinking, well, when you get them, they're like so tiny, you have no idea. And then when they're big, you just deal with it and you buy more cat food. Oh, so Summer, you shared a lot of stuff with me. I know that one of your issues is that your two younger ones, well, they're not the baby, but your 4 and your 8-year-old are acting out. Tell us about that.
Oh, my 8-year-old, she was my husband's first natural daughter, and she was Daddy's little girl. And he was a truck driver, so when he came home, he just gave all of himself to his kids. And she would pile up 20 books and read to her daddy, and he didn't, that was his job when he was home, is just be daddy. And I think she's really, really missing that unconditional, this is my dad, my time, and I just don't have that in me to give to her the way he did.
Yeah.
And she's really struggling. She seems to just be starving for attention and love and something. I can't figure it out.
And are you getting any help with the children, or you just feel like you're totally on your own in figuring out what you should do?
Well, right after he died, everybody started with grief counseling. And we go to a peer grief support group where she goes in with kids her age. But we're out of session right now, and that'll start up next month. But aside from that, it's just me.
Okay. Okay. Well, what about your 4-year-old? I know that you shared on Facebook that your 4-year-old had a dream that your husband was coming back and would wake up saying, we have to go get Daddy. And when you would say, I have to remind you, Dad's not coming home, your 4-year-old would have a tantrum. And how is that going? Is it any better, or is this happening regularly?
It's all over the place. He remembers my husband was a truck driver. He wasn't able to bring his truck home. So when he was coming home, we would pile in the car and we'd go get Daddy. And it was exciting to go get Daddy. And sometimes when we get in the car to leave, he'll say, are we going to get me today? And I have to remind him, honey, Daddy's not going to come home anymore. And sometimes it's having a bad day, he'll scream at me, yes he is, stop saying that. And he gets really, really mad, and he just doesn't believe me. And it's hard to tell my son that he'll never see his dad again, and I don't know any other words to say except for that.
I know, that's so hard. I want to welcome Brianne, honey. I'm so glad that you're here. And Brianne also has children. Dealing with the children is so hard because you've got your own grief and you're finding your own way. And in your case, Summer, you're finding yourself while 5 kids are trying to figure out their life without a dad. And I know it's just so difficult for you. We shared some things like how people don't know how to react and they don't know what to do. And you said that you're irritated by people who constantly say, what can I do? What do you need me to do? You want them to just see what your needs are and to react to it.
Well, I remember early on people would say, if you need anything, let me know. And I would call somebody and say, I think what I need more than anything is if somebody could just take the kids for a few hours. And I would always hear back, do you have somebody you could call? And I would want to scream, I'm calling you.
I know.
And everybody always wants to know if I could call somebody else. So I just quit asking.
Did you ever say I was calling you?
No, because I felt awkward, and I felt like that was their way of saying, I'm not available, but I'd love to help you find someone who is.
Yes.
So I would just give up. And
Yes. Have you ever thought about what if you tried saying, I really could use some help? Are you available? Have you ever felt like maybe you should try it once to see?
Well, I'm able to do that a little bit to some extent with my closest friend that I moved to Virginia to be near her. But she works 2 jobs and she has a son of her own, so I don't want to, I try not to ask her very often, but she's pretty good if I'll say, can the little one tag along to martial arts tonight, because she signs like 2 of my older kids up for that. So
Okay, because you know, one thing that I have learned in my widowhood is that people honestly do not know what to do. They just don't know what to do, they don't know what to say, and somehow we are so injured that we need people to surround us with what we need to make us feel better, but instead they surround us with what we don't need, and they say things that are offensive, and they do stupid stuff, and I know that they don't intend to, but they do. So I've kind of learned, and it's like pulling teeth, it's still so hard for me, but I've kind of learned that if I reach out to people and say, this is what I need, I've got a better chance of getting it than if I don't say anything.
Yes. Yes, I would definitely agree with that. I've, other people that have lost, people that have come to me for guidance on what to say with other people they have known, all I've said is, every time you say, what can I do, you put them in the position where they feel like they have to take care of you. They have to find a job for you. They have to comfort you. I don't know how many times I've had to comfort somebody because they didn't know what to do or said the wrong thing. I don't want to take care of anybody else.
Yes.
So it's hard. It's just, if you want to do something for me, show up and take my garbage out, rake my leaves, bring me a meal. Anything will help. Anything.
Yes.
Just knowing that somebody cared about me enough to make a small gesture means the world to me.
Yes, and that's what people don't understand. It's like you don't need a ton of money and you don't need 14 hours. If you do anything, something as simple as taking out the trash just means everything. But people say those empty words, if you need anything, let me know. And widows are just not, I don't know about the widowers, but I haven't had that conversation as much with the guys, but I know the widows all say, I'm not going to call anybody for help. It feels weird to have to ask for help, and you put yourself in a position of being told no, and none of us want to be told no, because then that's going to make us more sad.
Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I still don't know what I need. If you ask me what I need, and if I'm being honest, I need him to come back.
Yes.
You know? So I don't know what I need. If you want to help make things easier for me, help me to be more comfortable,
Yes.
that would be wonderful. I don't know how to call and say I need help.
Yes, I know it, and it's something that I've had to learn, and I still don't know how to do it because we all feel like an imposition to others. We just feel like everybody's busy, they're all doing their thing, and if they're not, they want to have downtime. And if you call and say, oh, by the way, I need my trees cut, they just groan like, oh my gosh, there's the widow, you know, and it's a hard place to be. So I think that maybe we have to work a little bit harder at reaching out to people. And I think a lot of our needs are simple. I think we just, you know, we need to have people who are willing to just listen to us and let us talk without being judged. So many people want to say, well, I think you should do this, 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 and we don't really need for them to tell us what they think we should do because we're walking our own journey. But we do like it if people will just listen to us, and like you said on the phone, that it would be wonderful if someone just showed up one evening with a bottle of wine and a rented movie and say, I brought a movie and I'm going to have a glass of wine in your living room and I would love for you to join me, but if you need some alone time, I'll watch the kids and you just go to your room, whatever you pick, you know, that's not hard.
I think the other, I don't know. I know people are trying to be encouraging, but every time someone tells me, you're so strong, I can't believe how great you're doing, it makes me feel like I then can't tell them that I'm feeling weak today.
Yes.
But I don't know if anyone else experiences that.
Yes.
A million times, oh, I think you're doing great. I hope it's scream from the rooftop. I'm not.
I know. As a matter of fact, when people would say that to me, oh, you're strong, I'm sitting there thinking I've never felt weaker in my life. And when they say that, as you go, oh, you're doing so well, it's like, what does that mean? Do you not see me crying in my car, crying in the shower, crying myself to sleep, looking for stuff that I can't find? Where did my husband put it? How do I fix this? Who do I call when something breaks? They don't understand that our lives are totally different and we're having to readjust, and it's not an overnight process.
Yeah, I sometimes just feel like I'm a visitor in my own life now.
Yes.
I don't know this life. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yes.
I don't know.
And you're right. It makes no sense. And it's not what we bargained for. It's not what we were thinking about. And in the end, it's basically what we were just thrown into, and we have to figure our way out. Now, one thing that you and I talked about is how, what was it, 6 months into your widowhood, you decided to move from California to Virginia.
Well, my husband and I had moved from California to Iowa together as newlyweds, and so I didn't have any family. All my friends had kind of deserted me when my husband died, and so I moved to Virginia, the third state, shortly after he died, at 5 months out.
Yes. And so, everybody says those classic words, they say, and that they thing always bothers me. Who in the heck are they? Where are they? And what century did they say it in? Like maybe that totally doesn't apply to the modern world today. But just most people say don't make any critical decisions. Moving is a critical decision. They say don't make those until at least the first year when the fog lifts a little bit. But you had a strong desire to move. You had your best friend who lived there. And although people said don't move, you decided to move, and now you're kind of wishing that you hadn't.
Yes, I'm definitely having some regrets. I love being close to my best friend, but the kids are really struggling. I think part of it is the school and other friends. They think, yeah, your dad died. That's very sad, and I'm sorry. But the people we live in a small town in Iowa, they saw it happen. They were there. They knew our family, so they could really identify with what we were going through. And
Yes.
here it's like a distant event. So people
Yes.
aren't as sympathetic when we're having bad days or my kids are having a breakdown at
Yes.
school. And I can see them rolling their eyes every time I say, well, we just passed our first Christmas without Dad, or we just had the 1-year anniversary. And I can see them going, how long are you going to keep using that to excuse their behavior? And they just don't get it.
I know, and it makes you so mad you want to start choking people, You're just like,
The trauma. We experienced a major life trauma.
yes, yes. And I don't know how people think you can get over it in some magic number like a year or even 2 years, because your entire life is gone. Half of you is gone. When you lose your spouse, most of us say it feels like half of my body is gone or half of my limbs are missing, and you don't recover from that. It's not like you just go, okay, well, that was a nice marriage and he or she's gone, I'm fine now. Every day you struggle with new things, and the birthdays and the anniversaries and the holidays, all of those are poignant reminders of the loss, and they keep coming around. So there's no way you can just get over it. But yet there are still so many things to deal with. I'm excited about you guys who have joined us in the chat room. Tim, I'm glad you were able to log on. I'm going to be talking to Tim in a few minutes, and I'm just thrilled to see Julie Bransom. I'm delighted that you could join us. Welcome to the show. And Frida, I'm glad you're here. And Faustina, honey, I'm so glad you're here. Faustina has been dealing with so much, and I'm doing this show tonight because so many of the people that I know who are widowed are dealing with just, it's like mountains. How do I climb this mountain? And when you think you're halfway up, then something else happens to compound the situation. So I'm glad you guys are here, because hopefully we're making it a little bit better, and everybody can understand to a better degree that we are here to support one another, and a lot of our issues are across the board. So when the rest of the world doesn't get it, we get it right here on the show. So thank you guys for being here. I also want to mention Doug's friend Bonnie. She's a new widow, and I don't know if Bonnie's watching the show, but if you are Bonnie, there's a big support group here for you, and I'm so sorry for your loss, and it's a really hard journey that you've got ahead of you, but we're here to support you in that, and I've now added you to my lengthy prayer list. Okay, so Summer, back to you. You were saying that one thing that irks you is how people say, well, your husband is here with you and that he's watching you.
Yes, I get sad sometimes. My little guy is just 14 months old. He was 7 weeks when my husband passed, so he's essentially missed everything. And even with my 17-year-old, she's getting ready to graduate college, high school in a few months, and there's so many things he's going to miss, and it hurts and it's hard, and I'll say, I wish he
Yes. And it's that same topic once again that people really do want to comfort us, and invariably they say the wrong things. And it should be a pleasant feeling to think that your loved ones are surrounding you even if we don't see them. But when it gets down to it, we need them to be here with us. And when you're going to school functions and you're sitting there by yourself, and when New Year's Eve comes and everybody's kissing their husband and wife or whoever, and you're standing there going, "Where's my cat?" I mean, it's ridiculous. And so for people to say that their intentions are good, but it absolutely doesn't do anything to make us feel better. How is your oldest doing, the 17-year-old?
She's doing well in a lot of areas. Where I struggle, I everyone kept telling me, "Well, use the kids, ask the kids for help. She can babysit," and I didn't want to turn her into the second parent. I
Yes.
want her to be a kid. I know she's grieving also,
Yes.
but as time goes on, I'm finding that I'm needing her more and more,
Yes.
and so I try and pull that back, and try not to make her feel like she owes me anything. It's still her brother, it's not her baby.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But she's so helpful, and she's a really good kid. I've been very blessed.
Yes. Yes, that's so great. I see that Nyla in the chat room is saying that she likes to believe that her husband can at least hear her, and that she not only cries for him but yells at him when she can't fix something. And she says she says he would be laughing at that, and I know we all do that. I tell you, I've had some Lulus because I've never had to deal with any kind of mechanical stuff. My husband was so good with all of that, and I had my dad up until my husband, and I was married for 21 years, so I never had to think about that. And I'll never forget one day, I was talking to a girlfriend, and I was about to start crying. She goes, "What is it?" And I said, "My disposal quit working. I use it every day. It's like, what else is going to happen?" And she says, "Robin, why don't you just try pressing the reset button?" And I had already been calling repair people and saying, "How much is the service charge?" I was already trying to work on it, but I hadn't figured it out yet. And there's my cat again. And anyway, I said, "Well, where is the darn reset button?" And she said, "Well, it's underneath." And so I had to take out like 100 products under my kitchen sink area. And I felt around and I found this stupid little button, and I pressed it, and that fixed it. And I thought I was about to pay $50 to have a guy come out and press a button. And it made me think about how many stupid things there are that we pay to get done when it's easy. And I know Nyla and really a lot of the other widows are always sharing about the challenges of how to do something, and when you prevail, gosh, you feel so happy and so proud of yourself. It's such a beautiful, beautiful place to be. But on the other hand, if you don't know how to fix it, it might as well be rocket science. So I know I've been ripped off so many times. They just look at me and go, "I know she doesn't know. Let's jack up the price." And even when I feel like the price is jacked up, I'm too tired to argue with anybody. I'm like, I just can't even deal with this. Let me just write my check out and forget about it. But, that's hard. And the other thing that you were talking about too is the thing that I always say is how people come around for the first week and then boom, they're just gone. You're just left on your own to figure out everything.
I had a friend come and stay with me for about 10 days. And I remember that morning she sat me down and she said, "I want you to know that I'm going to be leaving today. I'm going to go have lunch with my friends, and I'll be back to check on you afterwards, but then I'm going home to spend the night." And I remember, I laugh about it now because it seems so absurd, but I remember I came out and the kids asked me to make them a meal, and it dawned on me I hadn't cooked anything, made like the meal, gotten them a cup of juice in 10 days. And it all felt so awkward doing something for my kids and having to tend to their needs. And I think the little guy needed me to unzip his pants to help him go potty, and it was like moving in slow motion.
Yes.
And
Yes,
she
yes,
came back
yes,
to check on me, and she continued to for a few days, but everyone thought I was ready, and I was not ready. It was all still so strange.
Yes. And you're right about that slow motion feeling. It's like everything almost stops and then it's in slow motion and you feel like the world is just zipping past you 1,000,000 miles an hour.
You really have to concentrate on every single thing you do. Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to go down and get some mail. I don't know, I felt like I was counting steps, I was counting seconds, it just, every second was so hard.
Yes, I know. What would you say, Summer, if any of your friends or family were watching the show tonight and you didn't know it, what would you say to them?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, I still have a lot of anger there, so probably nothing for our audiences. My mom only met my kids for the first time at the funeral. That was the first time she'd ever met my children.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and they were, my 8-year-old especially, she was very angry and not listening to anybody, very defiant, and wouldn't leave my side. And when my mom left, she said that she never wanted to see them again, and she wished me the best. So,
Nyla's saying her daughters didn't give her room to breathe, and Brianne is saying that her Rob left her in a huge mess, and she's still trying to figure through everything and dealing with his military stuff. There's such an aftermath when someone dies of just stuff to have to deal with. And I know Brianne says sometimes she just wants to jump off her balcony head first, that she just feels like she'll never get out of it. And I think all of us relate to that, Brianne. We all understand that. And I remember when I was widowed and there were so many things to deal with. And a friend, she was like 65 years old, and I thought, well, she's very wise. And I was just she's not a widow, but I thought, I'm just going to ask her some questions. And I said, how long do you think it will take me to get everything together? And she said, probably 3 years. And I almost fainted, like I can't live with this for 3 years. And you know what's funny? I'm 6.5 years out and I still haven't dealt with everything. There are still things that I need to do, but it's just not a priority in my day every day. And I've allowed myself to say, you know what, it's okay, girlfriend. You don't have to deal with all that. You'll just do it whenever you feel like doing it. So sometimes I think we have to give ourselves permission to feel like we feel and not put pressure on ourselves. And I think that we have to work hard. It's hard, but I think that we have to find forgiveness for others because they really don't know what to do. And I also think that we have to learn how to reach out differently. And I still struggle with that. I mean, I sit here and think, I really need to get my trees cut. So what do I need to do? Who should I call? And should I call 20 people and hope that 2 show up? You know what I mean? It's just like a crazy place to be. But I've gotten a lot better because I fully understand that if I don't ask people to help me with something, they're just not going to do it. And especially after 6.5 years, everybody thinks that, your world should be perfect. And what we find as time passes is your world is still not perfect,
I lost my thought. I was listening to you.
We were just talking about things not being perfect and how you have to learn how to reach out and you have to give yourself permission for things not to be okay and to understand that that's just part of it. And even though years pass, everything is still not perfect. But we have to learn to accept that things are not going to be perfect and that we're not able to go through all the stuff.
Yeah, I think one of my greatest struggles has been in that forgiveness part with other people. I just get so angry when they don't know how to help me, or when I had a group of friends. I guess they all got together and decided that they needed to be tough with me, that I was too negative, and that they would no longer talk to me as long as I was being negative. And I just was so angry, thinking, you have no idea. I feel like a man with no legs, and they're expecting me to walk.
Yes.
So I found that the truth is if somebody said, what do you need, what do you want, I don't know how to answer that question. So I certainly can't get angry at them for not knowing the answer to it.
Yes.
But I'm trying to be more patient.
Yes. And a lot of times, we just need people to be there for us, to maybe get us out of the house in the case of people with children, just to keep the children and let you have some alone time, maybe to give you a good book, to bring food over one day, bring pizza, have a pizza party with you and the kids. It's not like the things that we need are huge, but we definitely have a tremendous amount of needs. And I'm telling you, the chat room is moving so quickly, I can't even really keep up with it. I see Brienne's talking about friends telling her she needs to take off her ring when she's in public, or not to talk about Rob, and that really sucks too. Who has a right to tell anyone to remove your wedding ring or to not talk about your spouse? I mean, that is so wrong for people to try to put limits on what we should be able to do, but that's why hanging with the widowed community is so rewarding, because you don't hear those things from widows and widowers. And I know, Summer, you said that you're getting some good support from the widowed community as well.
Yeah, I find that when I feel like I'm going crazy, I feel like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not getting better? When I check in with that widowed community,
Yes.
it reaffirms that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, that
Yes.
I'm doing fine on this journey and I'm okay.
Yes. And honey, I think you're great, and I'm really proud of you, and I think you're doing great, and I know it's so hard, and you're just barely a widow of a little over a year, and so you have a lot on your plate. But I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you being in the chat room, and I hope that you'll join us every Tuesday, because you learn a lot from just hearing what other people are talking about. And I love you to pieces, and I'm here for you, honey.
Well, thank you.
All right, baby girl, stay in the chat room. I'm going to call Tim next. All right, honey, I love you. I'll talk to you later. Okay, so there was Summer. She is such a sweetheart, I'm telling you. I just can't imagine having 5 children with all of the different age brackets. It's not like they're all right together, but I just wish that she were here. She's in Virginia, and ironically, the other guest that I have is Tim in Virginia. So I'm going to call you right now, Tim. I see that you are in the chat room. Hello, Tim. How are you, sweetie?
I'm doing good.
Good. I see that you've been in the chat room. Did it make you feel better to hear some of the things that Summer's dealing with?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, we have a big support group here, too, and it's, you hear a lot of the same problems that people go through.
Tim, can you speak up a little bit, sweetie?
Yeah, I could really relate to, what she's saying. We have a really big support group in Virginia called YWOW, Young Widow and Widowers, and we all talk about the same thing, the same problems that both men and women go through, when they're trying to move on.
Yes, and you had kind of an interesting situation in that you were in the military for over 20 years. And how long were you married? 11?
11 years.
Yes, you were married 11 years. Your 2 children are now 12 and 15. They were 5 and 8 at the time that you were married. And with your particular job in the military, you were gone so much of the time, and you were not even able to tell your family where you were. So basically, you're gone while your wife was home raising the kids. And after she died, you were thrust into this single parent when you shared something that I was so touched by, that you basically watched your kids grow on video.
Yes, on videotape. It's hard to do. Sometimes, that's the only thing you can do, when you're in the military.
Yes.
Pictures and videos. You come home and you're like, well, who's this? Then you got to reintroduce yourself.
Yes.
6 months, sometimes a year later, and that's like a lifetime to someone that's 3, 4 years old.
I know, I know. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for serving in the military. I have such respect for all of our troops, and we might not be sitting here talking with freedom of speech if it weren't for all of you people who have made amazing sacrifices to protect our country and to fight for freedom. And I really appreciate that, but it's got to be so difficult to be working and to be overseas and to get videotapes and to watch your two kids growing up and then to come home and feel like you don't really know them.
Oh yeah, they grow up so fast, and
Yes.
like you said, I got a 15 getting ready to be a 16-year-old, and everybody's been telling me the easy stuff is you've already passed it. The hard stuff's getting ready to come, and I believe it. Teenagers, this day is it's a struggle.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. And your wife had brain cancer, is that, or a brain tumor?
yes.
So you were able to come home for 6 months just to take care of her, and she lived for a year once she got the diagnosis. So a whole lot of that last year, you guys were in and out of the hospital and at doctor offices.
Oh yes, yes. I got a compassionate reassignment, and I was able to come back here. Of course, most of the time was spent at the hospital, with the surgery, and that didn't go well, and then the radiation and chemo, and that didn't go well. But it wears on you.
Yes. I know Doug in the chat room is a widower, and he said that he's a broadcaster, and one of his coworkers at the radio station had battled brain cancer off and on and died last year. And I've known a couple of people who died with that, and you go through so much. And so just having those struggles, and for you just being with your family and having the responsibility of the children has been difficult. And I know when I asked you what your top 3 things were that you struggled with the most, you said regrets, self-destructing, and becoming numb. And I thought that was just like so amazing and just so interesting, because those are some things that a lot of other people wouldn't mention. What do you mean by self-destructing?
It's hard getting back into that dating stream, and you meet a lot of different people, and some of the people that you meet are just totally. I understand, when you get to be our age, not to be our age is bad, but like I never planned on being this age and being single, but some people that you meet. You understand why they're single. There's a reason. So you got to weed through all those, and then when you start to meet somebody that you can possibly go forward, you find little faults, and you find reasons.
And I'm sorry, Tim, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you just speak up just a little bit more, please? Because you're saying such great stuff.
You start to find faults in a relationship, and
Yes.
you start to back away. And I was told by a woman that I used to date that to me, you self-destruct in a relationship. You let somebody get so close to you, and then you'll end it. You'll turn it off like a light switch. I guess I don't know why. I've been told that you're afraid to get so close to somebody that you don't want to lose another person in your life, like you lost your last love. I don't know. I've never figured that out. Why I do it.
Do you feel like you are self-destructing, or do you just feel like they are saying that?
Of course, I denied it, and of course, then after you think about it, after a year, then you've gone through a couple relationships, and you're like, doggone it, she was right. I guess I do self-destruct, and I look for reasons to end relationships, I guess.
Okay. And Would you be happier in a good relationship, you think?
Oh yes, yes. Like all my friends and like even my parents like this, they thought I'd be married within a year after my wife passed away because I've never
Yes.
been alone.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I enjoy being in a relationship,
Yes.
in a good relationship. I know a good relationship. I know bad relationships. But over the years, I'm going on what is it, 8 years now. Um, I'd rather be by myself now. I'm comfortable now where I wasn't then. I had to have somebody. I had to have be with somebody. Now I guess I'm more comfortable being by myself. But do I desire to be by myself now?
Yes. Right. I know. At least you got a lot of peace and quiet when you're by yourself, but that's not really what I think any of us ultimately want. We just have a fear of getting into the wrong relationship and having it go downhill. And you actually said when you first had your first real girlfriend after your wife died, that did she cheat on you? You said some bad things happened, which just made things worse for you.
Oh yeah, it seemed to work really good for a while, and then all of a sudden she got very distant, and you know I didn't want to believe it, but it ended up she was seeing somebody else at the same time. The excuses. Of course, it took about 2 years to figure that out. But I didn't need that at the time.
Oh, I know it. I know it and that's the hard part, because when you've been with someone and you loved them and you trust them completely, you have a tendency to carry those ideas into a new relationship. And then when somebody shatters your trust, it makes you back up a few steps. And then you feel like you're a lot more skeptical of people than you were when you were married. And that's not a happy place to be.
Oh, and to be fair to her too, I guess I never really dealt with the things that I've learned with this grief group that I'm involved with. It probably would have helped me out a lot more if I would have found this group out probably right afterwards. But I found this group out about 3 or 4 years afterwards.
Yes.
So I kind of help a lot of them out with the newer widower and widowers. How you go numb at first. You really don't know what happened, and then you start to realize she's gone. And then you go through that angry phase and the regrets, like I should have done that better, I could have done this better. You go through all those little phases. And that's what I learned through this group. And I guess it would have helped me out a lot better early on if I knew about what I was going through.
Yes, and I think that's interesting too, because you're almost 8 years into widowerhood and you still go to a support group for young widows and widowers. And I know that there are so many people that would think you must have a problem if you're able to still go to a group this far into it, but they still just don't understand the camaraderie and the support you get from talking with and being in the presence of other widowed people.
Oh, it is. They understand, and like I was talking to you earlier about, when you start to see somebody, a lot of people that you meet, they're divorced, and they say, well, it's just like a divorce. You lose somebody. It's not. It's nowhere close to a divorce.
No.
It's nothing like it.
No.
It's easy to get on. You just move on. It's hard. But
yeah, and
just for being involved with this group, no, we're all really good friends, and we all do stuff together. And once a month we go out and try new restaurants. We go out dancing, and cruises and getaways and that kind of stuff. So we have a really tight group, and we always have new people, and you have people that have moved on.
Yes. Yes, and I'm with you. We need to be supported, and if we find that predominantly in the widowed community, then it's okay to do that, and nobody should put any kind of deadlines or restrictions on any of us, and they should never say you need to move forward, or you need to stop saying, talking about your spouse, or you need to take your ring off, all the stupid things that people say, because when they say those comments, I had a doctor of psychology on the show once, and she said when people say those things, they're making your situation about them. They're wanting you to be where they want you to be, and it's not about them at all. And that's actually a good response when people say that, to be able to say, you're making my grief journey about you, and it's not about you. I think that's a wonderful response to say to people. But at the end of the day, most of us don't want to say anything. We just don't want to mess with it. We don't want to confront people because they don't understand how to deal with us, you know?
Exactly.
It's like crazy. Well, Doug in the chat room is just saying that the dating scene is a jungle. I'll second that, and I'm sure all the widowed people who are dating again will second that. It's so weird to date after coming from love, respect, being on a pedestal, having a life partner, to, you know, hey, let's go jump in bed, and what can you do for me? And that's what a lot of the dating is about. And so many people are cold and callous and bitter, and they bring that to the relationship. And if you're widowed, you don't really have that, but yet you deal with that with others, and it's kind of a hard pill to swallow. It really is.
Oh, it is. It's like you say, I never pictured myself being this age and dating again.
Yes, yes, and none of us did, and it's such a hard thing to do. I always say that, you know, I'm tired of telling the Robin Craig story. It's like, who cares about my story? But if you meet somebody and they're new to you, then you've got to tell your story once again. And everybody has the same questions, and it seems silly after being married for a long time. It's like, what's your favorite color, and what's your favorite food? And, you know, it's all part of the game, and we have to do that. But in reality, you know, whether love comes again, none of us has any idea, but we just have to deal with it. But, you know, one thing that you're dealing with, and we don't have a lot more time, but you're dealing with becoming numb. Tell us a little bit about that, Tim.
Well, I guess it's, I've been told it's a defense mechanism. You know, I could fix, when I was in the military, I could fix it. You know, I was one of the, you know, I was a leader a lot of soldiers, and you got to be strong. And when she passed away, I had a good poker face. I was struggling with things, but I can go to work and just have a smile and pretend to function. But sometimes it's easier to just get numb, and when others freak out about something, oh, my car won't start, or my girlfriend just left me, or, you know, my dog died or something. I'm like, okay, that's reality. I guess the stress that I went through, you know, the year that she was dying on me, and then watching her actually take her last few breaths in front of me was so stressful that you couldn't even comprehend some of the stuff that I've seen in the military. I mean, that was nothing compared to, you know, watching my wife take her last breath.
Yes.
So anybody tells me anything that's really stressful, it's like, okay, you know, that's pretty bad. But then if I don't show it, it's like I'm not showing a lot of emotion. I'm like, well, you know, it's hard to feel again, I guess.
Well, and you know, and you have a different monitor. When you've lost someone and you've watched the person you love the most suffer like your wife did, and then you hear that, you know, someone's car broke down or something crazy like that, when you compare them, you're thinking, honey, what you're dealing with is nothing compared to what I dealt with. So you don't often have a lot of reaction to that. And I think
you hate to say that.
Yeah.
I just don't kind of respond to things.
Yes, and I think that being
withdrawn or quiet.
Well, and I think too that being numb may be a bit of a defense mechanism, because we've all cried so much and we've hurt so much and we've grieved for a long time, and sometimes you get a little bit numb because you just can't allow things to keep making you feel hurtful, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Well, sweetie, I thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and hopefully I'll have a chance to have you come back because it really is helpful for all of us to have a bigger window into the world of our peers. We're struggling with stuff, but you're sharing some things that are a lot different from what I'm dealing with. And I appreciate you so much, and I thank you so much for sharing, and I hope you have a really great week, and I'm here for you. You can contact me anytime for any reason.
Thank you, Robin, for having me on.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Good
Bye.
night. So yeah, I hope everybody will friend everybody who's been on the show tonight. Everybody that is in the chat room, everybody's on Facebook. So I hope you guys are writing down names and sharing with one another because we really need to keep the dialogue going and we really need to be there for one another because we're struggling in so many ways and we can feel so alone, but we're really not alone. All of us are dealing with stuff. I wanted to leave you with a couple of good quotes. Oprah says, where there is no struggle, there is no strength. So I like to think I'm struggling, but I am a lot stronger than I was before my husband died. I got a long way to go, but I see that I get stronger through all my different experiences. A guy named Orison Swett Marden says, success is not measured by what you accomplish, but by the opposition you have encountered and the courage with which you have maintained the struggle against overwhelming odds. Isn't that beautiful? I absolutely love that. And my favorite, Helen Keller, I admire and respect her so much. She said, character cannot be developed in ease and in quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. I absolutely love that. So we all have to be inspired from what we've gone through, and we need to be able to reach out to others, and we all should reach out to our widowed community because the rest of the world doesn't seem to know what to do with us, but we know what to do. And to just show up and to say, I'm going to take your trash can out. Your mailbox looks terrible. I'm going to paint it for you. I see you have kids. I imagine you could use a couple of hours to yourself. You just pick a day. Anytime this weekend, I'm all yours. We all know what to do. So let's just continue to be there for one another's. I appreciate you guys coming tonight, and I hope that you will share the show with other people because there are so many people in need. And I know you guys are all wearing your PJs and you are in your bed with your computer on, and what a great way to relax and to share stories with one another. If you would like to be on the show, or if you have a show idea, contact me at robincraigdirect.com. That's my website. And also for the case of Benitos, just go to my website and just type the word Benitos, and the 10th person to send me an email with the word Benitos is going to win a case of them, and I'll announce the winner for next week. So thank you once again for being here. I love you guys so much. You mean so much to me. And also, if you would like to support the show, there is a donations page on my website, and there is no amount too small. I work so hard to do the show, and I'm in my 3rd year of production. So if you would like to support the show, then just go to robincraigdirect.com and just click on the donations, and you can make a little donation. Whatever it is, any amount is really helpful, and you can do it with any kind of a credit card on PayPal. Technology is a beautiful thing. So have a great week. I'm going to stick around in the chat room for a little bit, and we'll keep the dialogue going. I love you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and please join me every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. if you're on the West Coast. Love ya. Mwah.